Yeah.
I guess.
You should see it.
Okay, so when I'm done with this.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was just to,
That's-
just for leadership, I guess.
We got about people from Lincoln Day dinner.
What's up? How we doing? We doing? How are you? See you as well.
Yeah. Hey, quick question, did Lincoln
That's.
reach out to you?
She sent me an email. I didn't respond because I didn't want to put this one out. She got an empty spot. Didn't
Well,
fill on my phone. Make sure we got a copy.
I got a draft from Steve.
Yeah.
No, that's just
Had
do the
your
animal.
red from
I
last
have it
year in there.
Last year or 2 years ago.
It's like,
Yeah, this,
Thanks,
this
Senate
one.
committee.
that's to do the interlock.
So
Those are both. Then I love.
Yeah, that's just the.
Yeah, I'll get back.
we have plenty of it. If you want to sit this way.
Well, I'd like to see the,
Either way.
I assume you've heard that they rolled up
I mean-
today with the school buses.
Well, I know.
Can I set it?
I'd
out?
rather have it too.
Can I set it out too?
I don't.
Yeah.
Suck it, and right on my forehead.
Yeah, I'm just so sweet.
Yeah.
well, Connie must have walked back into her office.
Great dog.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. You know what's funny? He came up. Back in the day, so happy with him. I did. I rolled against you.
No, we're done. We're still skiing in West Virginia though. It's actually still, we still made snow yesterday in West Virginia.
About Michigan.
Michigan's done.
Really?
We tried making some snow this week, but couldn't make it happen. But West Virginia's making snow and we were making snow in Michigan, but it's so windy, it was staying.
Oh, I was wondering. Yeah.
50 mile an hour.
Some of these airports had a bunch of problems. There's Michigan, Austin, Buffalo. So how was the season?
It was good, longer than average, good crowd. What was really nice for us this season is it got cold and stayed cold. So the conditions stay better. When it's a freeze thaw, the snow kind of gets kind of junky.
Yeah.
So when it gets cold and stays cold, leaves us in better conditions, right?
She's got it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This one.
I do.
I skied probably 5 or 6 times this year. Yeah. I usually get up like an hour and a half, so not to put eyes on everything. I take lots of pictures and stop and look at a lot of things. Right? Yeah. I always try to go do it for fun, but it never happens that way.
Ask me here.
Yeah.
Hey, I got blessed to go.
Risk management thing in your life, doesn't it?
But I, yeah, maybe just. Well, it's like winter to be accident. So that's simple. It's not the she share. It's a city. Maybe. No. Yeah, at least this is right. Sorry. Yeah, I think he is. It can be a little bit.
I'm sure.
You still refereeing? Baker, are you done with that?
I did a few games early in the season, I fifth and sixth grade.
Yeah,
I kind of enjoy that.
that's a fun age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stay out of the stuff where the parents get too worked up.
When I get my back, back to phone.
That's right.
And watch, and listen. The comments.
Sometimes parents forget what we're teaching our kids in those moments, don't they?
Yeah.
Next one.
There's your daughter in archery or something? Is that what I said? Or-
Two of them. Yeah, my oldest daughter did archery last year and the youngest one started again. This
Yeah, that's okay. Turn into a hot thing.
Yeah, the schools have a really nice program. Right out at the county farm park, there's a archery range.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, so I have the same student for each comes out there.
Well,
So, it's a nice facility. There'll be a lot of upgrades, lots of people, they'll do the pavilion, they're adding solar out there. So far.
Is that what your son was? Or-
Yeah.
I went out there for their, dedication.
Yep.
Family, here last fall, I guess. Doing their activities, I guess, in new place.
Yeah, it's a great facility, and making lots of good investments in that. It's a Here's some young folks that need that service. And for sure.
Sorry to hear about your brother. Passed away there a couple weeks ago.
Lonnie's not gonna be here tonight, right? Lonnie's not gonna be here tonight. Leah's
Oh,
acting.
Leah's got lots of hats today, huh?
Back on.
It's here, as sanitations.
Everyone will join us in standing up for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a recipient of federal funds and in support of Dearborn County's efforts to ensure non-discrimination and equal access to all citizens, the county gathers statistical data regarding participants in county activities. Therefore, we have provided a voluntary Title VI public involvement survey at this meeting. You are not required to complete this survey. However, the form is anonymous and will be used solely for the purpose of monitoring our compliance with Title VI and ADA.
Thank you, Andy. First on our agenda is highway. I think Leah's presenting for highway.
This is for a request to create an account in Riverboat Admissions Fund for Van Wedding Road. And then transfer $500,000 into that account to get that project started.
Simply a transfer.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the transfer of funds for this new project on Small Structure 533?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
A motion, a second, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is Mr. Kelly for probation.
Good evening. I appreciate your time. So I've got three additional requests this evening. The first request is for a wage increase for a new, it's for an officer I've had with me for about 8 years now, but Jamie Billingsley has been being moved into a quality assurance officer position. If you guys recall, when I took over, a lot of you won't recall this, but when I took over community corrections in 2013, at that time we had, I was the chief probation officer, and then we had a director of community corrections who was a completely separate entity. we merged into one department, into a unified court services department, and I took over the management of both departments. So we got rid of that director position. I kind of took over the management supervision of both departments. However, that's a lot of work to do when you're managing two different departments. So we are promoting Jamie Billingsley into a quality assurance position. She is not a manager, but she will be directly helping me oversee the community corrections portion. We're funded at about $500,000, a little over $500,000 a year for community corrections through grant funding. And because of that, there's a lot of requirements that we have to do to meet the DOC standards. And I need somebody who directly oversees that agency to make sure that we're meeting those standards. Jamie has a master's in public administration. She was in the US Army for 6 years as an interrogator, so she's obviously highly qualified. And then she's been with me for another 8 years, so she's obviously highly qualified to take over that position. We're asking, it's a $5,000 raise, but then Leah put in there the perf and FICA and all the fringe that goes along with that. So total increase out of the probation user fees would be $5,943. So that's my first request. I don't know if you want to take them one by one or.
Let's take them one by one.
Okay.
Is there a
I
motion?
move we approve the additional request,
Is there a second?
$5,943.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Your next request is for $15,000 out of opioid unrestricted.
Yeah, so this request is, we're currently working with with the consultant agency, Gilman Partners out of Cincinnati. They have been putting on a leadership program for the chamber, for the Lawrenceburg Chamber, or for the Dearborn County Chamber for, I think, 6 or 7 years now, where they have local up and coming leaders in the community come and you do a 6-month program with them. And you attend leadership training for 3 hours a day for once a month for 6 months. And it's just training people to be better leaders and better employees in the agency and kind of develop as many leaders as possible. I went through that class 2 years ago and it was something that I found very beneficial.
Now, is that broad or is it pretty much for probation type?
Well, this is broad. So when I went through the class, there was people in the banking industry, people with MGP, people just all over, just any type of businesses or agency in Dearborn County as people who attend that. So I found it was very beneficial to me. And I didn't want to just send one person at a time to that. So what we're doing is all of my probation officers, all of my therapists for JCAP, and all of my case managers for community corrections are going through that program. It's at a reduced price than it would cost if I sent everybody individually to the chambers thing. And once again, I could only send so many people at a time if I did that. So Judge McLaughlin and I decided we wanted to send everybody through that program. So
So
we're
how many
currently
people are we talking? How many people?
17
17?
people. Yeah, and that, like I said, that includes all the JCAP therapists, the director of JCAP, myself. I'm going back through it because it's important that we go through it as a group, all of my probation officers and all of my case managers.
Steve, can you remind us the opioid unrestricted fund, that's from a settlement from the state as a result of?
Right, yeah, currently, I don't have the exact funds, but I think we're currently over $1.4 million that we have in that. And we have two different funds. We have the restricted opioid funds. And once again, that's the settlement from the opiates that were given out and the lawsuits that happened because of that. So each county is given so much money in opioid settlement funds. And we're currently in our account, and then we have about $1.4 million total between the restricted and unrestricted. The unrestricted, I think, is a little over 3, and don't quote me on these because I don't have the numbers in front of me. I believe the unrestricted funds are a little over 300,000, and then we have about 1.1 million in the restricted funds. The restricted funds,
Right.
the restricted have to go specifically towards substance abuse. Unrestricted, you can use on whatever you want.
I'll make a motion for 15,000 for education and training out of the 1238 opioid unrestricted fund.
Thank you, Tim. Is there
I'll
a second?
second.
Thank you, Doug. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. This is the middle school prevention program.
Yeah, so this is actually, I'm presenting this for the prosecutor's office for Lynn Deddens. Every year she goes to the local middle schools and they do a prevention program
All of them.
All of them. We're going to, this year, Lynn will take, Chris Heron. If you guys have ever heard of the Heron Project, Chris Heron was out in the East Coast, was a basketball phenom. As a high school, he was on Sports Illustrated. He was on a lot of different documentaries and things like that. His dad was a famous high school basketball coach. And he, went to college and got addicted to heroin. Got drafted to the NBA, played for the Celtics. While with the Celtics, was addicted to heroin. There's an ESPN documentary on him. That's really good if you've never seen it. And like he even talks about how he would like at halftime run out and buy drugs on the street while in his Celtics jersey and then go back in and play basketball on heroin. So anyways, he's been sober for about 20 years now and he goes around the country. He has a nonprofit agency now, but he'll go around the country speaking to a lot of schools and things like that. And Lynn and I and Christina and I worked together on getting him to come to Dearborn County. He's going to present the 13,500 plus what they have to use from CASA, because they have a CASA grant, will cover all three of the Dearborn County middle schools. And then Ohio County is covering, he's going to go to Ohio County as well, and they're going to cover the Ohio County portion for that. So
Who's they? It's gonna-
Ohio County.
Okay.
I don't know what funding, but it's all that funding for the Ohio County schools from Ohio County. We're just paying for the Dearborn County portion of it. So that fund will actually be set up in the prosecutor's office and they'll be able to pay that amount. I'm just here speaking on their behalf because I help with that grant process. So I'm looking for an approval of 13,500 for that funding, once again, out of the restricted. To be honest with you, I think this one, because it falls under prevention, could go unrestricted or restricted. But
Well, this was it only advertised out of unrestricted?
yeah, we're gonna do it under unrestricted, but it would mean.
That's too bad because I'd like to use the restricted.
So that's the request here.
Okay.
Seemed like that'd be allowed out of there, doesn't it?
Yeah. But
It
it
is. We
wasn't
just didn't
advertised out of that, so
Advertised that way.
unfortunately, that's not gonna happen.
I'll make a motion to approve the 13,500 for middle school drug prevention program out of the 1238 opioid unrestricted.
Is there a second?
I will.
You, Doug, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Now, they don't talk about just like drugs. Do they talk about like vaping and alcohol?
Yeah, he talks about all that. He'll talk about alcohol use and vaping, because if you watch his story, a lot of it started with alcohol use and cigarettes and things like that. So,
Because there's been recent stories about how alcohol is having a resurgence.
right.
Go figure.
And vaping, of course, is a major issue right now with the teenagers, unfortunately.
Thank you very much, Steve.
All right, thank you, guys.
Veteran Services, is that you, Leah? Oh, I'm sorry, Dave, I didn't see you.
It's okay. Good afternoon.
Dave.
For those of you who may not know me, I'm Dave Currents, the Veteran Service Officer. And thanks for your time today. I'm here to ask for additional funding for part-time assistant Veteran Service Officer to help me out. Our requests year over year have exponentially gotten larger and larger, and it would just be nice to have another resource trained to do benefits and claims for our Dearborn County veterans.
I agree, it's an important service. I do have a question for Leah, though. This amount, is this for an annualized? Is this figure an annualized number? Or just for the remaining months of the year?
I believe it's annualized.
I think it is too, because I think in budget, we talked about 27,000 in that
Yes,
neighborhood.
it is for
Okay.
26 days, so it's per year.
Right, okay, thank you.
Dave, I don't remember if I read it in an article or if it was something you gave us at budget time, but you had talked about the number of visits of veterans and the rates that is up coming through your doors. Do you remember those numbers off the top of your head?
I think I've got it here. So since 2021, we've seen an 89% increase in office visits, 386 to 731, and 115% increase in claims processed, 245 to 527.
It's an important service. I think it's unfortunate that some of the other surrounding areas don't support veterans to the extent that Dearborn County does. That we have people coming from Kentucky,
Yes, ma'am.
Cincinnati, which to me is a little shocking, but
Yeah,
I'd like to commend Dave for his reach out efforts. I saw your little thing on, I think it was Channel 9 or
yes, sir.
it's a couple months ago. It really, you made Dearborn County look good.
Thank you.
And-
I appreciate that.
Just the sheer numbers of veterans being served by your office It's to be commended for that.
Thank you. And then I have another request for additional $600. There's new legislation that passed this year that is going to increase the training requirements for county veteran service officers. And now we are required to attend a 4-day training just outside of Indianapolis. And my current budget for travel is about $400 for the year. And that's just not gonna be enough to
Will
cover.
this be enough for you and the new person or just you?
Well, this one I just put in for me because I don't have the person on board yet, but I will need it for the new person as well, because
Okay.
my hope is to train them to do exactly what I do, even though they're the assistant,
Mhm.
so that we have complete support across the board.
Makes sense. So
You want
we,
this as one motion or
we
separate?
can do it as one motion, I believe. Both have county general.
I move we approve both requests from the veteran service officers.
Thank you, Mark. Is there a second? Thank you, Janice. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Amy Rose for the Health Department. Hi there.
Good evening, thank you guys. Bear with me, I didn't bring my glasses. So it's a little blurry. The first one, the 362743. There was one county in the state that opted out of HFI. So the rest of us got a little bit of a bump from that one county opting out. So that's what that 3627 is. And that would just go into our general clinic operations.
Okay, so you have two requests out of 1161, so I think we should probably take care of both of those in one motion.
Yeah,
So,
the first one is that additional bump and the second one is rollover from the first year.
okay,
We have the capability right now when our vaccine fridges and the freezer go out to keep them running for about an hour and a half, but power outages don't always last an hour and a half, so just for peace of mind, we would like to purchase an additional generator for our
And-
vaccine.
now, does this generator be like gas powered? So it's,
I
I mean, it should not be
apologize.
gasoline.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't know much about generators.
If there's natural gas up there, I think the best way to tap it in is with natural gas, because then you don't worry about the fuel running out. I mean, I'm not an expert on that
Yeah,
kind of
no,
stuff,
I
but
don't take any advice you want to offer me.
What building is this on, Amy? Is this at the top of the hill or? Okay.
Yeah.
So this would only be covering your
lower
power
level.
outage.
Yes, not the upper level, which is still empty.
And
the building
this
is
is
still
like
for
gonna be a freestanding that you got a company a price to install?
I'm sorry.
You got a price from some company
Oh,
to install?
not yet. I
This-
just, but this is just very beginnings. I just want to make sure that when we can get there.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a very high number. We just built a new building and got RAMC put a freestanding generator. They service it and everything. There's some, yearly cost a few $100s, but it was less than $10,000. And it basically runs our whole building, so I'm sure that
Again,
would probably be adequate,
Dr. Hillis and I talked about out of both of our wheelhouses.
So let me ask you this, how they power them, if it's already.
It's natural gas.
Okay, that to me is the way to go. If there's natural gas up there, that's the way to hook it up, because then you don't worry about the diesel or the gasoline running out. And it should automatically kick on, so that's a win-win. So the number is probably high, it just rolls back whatever you don't use. So we have these two requests for the health department out of 1161. Is there a motion to approve these requests?
And this request, if that amount isn't needed, it will
It'll
roll back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're, okay, and it wouldn't be used for something else.
No, these are state funds, so.
But we don't have a quote yet.
No.
This is from Health First Indiana, right?
Yes, health first funding.
I think we should table the second request for the $100,000 and get a quote before we blanket approve it.
No problem.
Yeah,
We don't wanna give them an open checkbook. and
Right.
say we spent 100,000.
I guess I have more faith in the fact that they would probably handle it appropriately, but I appreciate if we want to table the second one, we can, but then we need two different motions.
I'll make a motion to approve the 362743 out of 1161.
Is
I'll
there-
second it.
Do you want just one quote?
No.
Or
You
three.
usually get three. I
Three,
think.
yeah, it was three.
And I would contact your electric company.
It's probably Lawrenceburg Utility.
It is.
Who did you put down this for the second?
I put Mark.
Mark, okay.
Okay, and all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. On the second request for the generator, is there a motion to approve or is there a motion to table?
I move with table.
Y'all are talking stereo here.
I'll second Glenn's motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of tabling signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. And I think that there's support for this, but with some real harder numbers.
Absolutely understandable.
Good. And then you have 1159 funds for future health fund.
The 4,000, I participate in a maternal child health consortium, and so those funds were funds that were paid to me, and then I just put them in our account. So we just want to pull those out and use them to put on a community baby shower. And that would be in May. And then the $10,000, that was from a $50,000 donation that we received. And that's just gonna go to promote our oral health prevention program that we're doing with Soil and Water.
You doing with whom?
Soil and Water Conservation District.
Okay, is there a motion to approve these two requests?
So move.
Second,
Second.
any other discussion? All those signify by saying aye. All those in favor, signify. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
you much.
Congratulations
Amy.
for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a BZA appointment. It's currently Andrea Shooter. Apparently she's willing to serve again. Is there a motion to approve this appointment?
So move.
Second,
Yeah, I'll second it.
any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We have a resolution. Andy, are you presenting or, oh, let's see, Nicole's here.
Good evening, Nicole Daly, Director of Planning and Zoning, and Jean Cleary, member of the Park Board. This evening, we're looking for is a approval and support of the 26-31 5-year master park plan. The Park Board and myself have been working on this for over a year. We finally received approval through IDNR, which is one of the steps that has to be taken. It has to be approved through the state before all the approvals come down to the county. So we went to the commissioners for their support resolution, and we're coming to council for a support resolution on that as well. Because we want to be able to include this in the master plan, and the Park Board will be doing their final resolution approval of the master plan in their April meeting. So that is what our request is for this evening.
Those materials were emailed to us. I don't see them in the packet. Andy, do you have?
There were 104 pages.
This is
My friend,
No, that's fine.
I did read a lot of it. It was
But we
pretty
did have it
impressive.
emailed to us. So
Yes,
if we had-
yes, you have the whole thing emailed to you, and officially it's still considered draft until the Park Board does their resolution at their April meeting. But we wanted to be able to include these resolutions of support for that plan, being that it's a 5-year plan, and the Park Board will be able to go after grants and stuff throughout those 5 years for improvements that are listed within that plan.
So do you have the resolution or does Andy have it? Is that
I have the resolution here.
This is a resolution of support of the 5-year plan. We would need a motion to approve the resolution to 2026-002. Is there a motion to approve this?
I will.
Is there a second? Thank you, Mark. All those in favor, any other discussion?
I got a question.
Yes.
4-H shooting sports uses the range there on the park,
Yes.
so that's not an issue with them continuing to use that.
No, and actually what we've discussed and what's in there is to possibly some future improvements in that area to maybe expand the usage of it for other educational purposes as well.
I was up there this weekend, Glenn, and in the last 2 years, they've replaced the structure that archery shoots from. I think that's partly so they can host
Right.
events up there.
Right.
They're also adding solar on the building. Instead of running power back, they've added solar because it's so far back off the road. So
Right.
there's a great group of individuals that volunteer at that park, and it's really made some nice improvements in the last few years.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the plan. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Everyone does need to sign this, so let's finish this before you move
Okay.
on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You'll sign it, pass it back, and we'll make sure it's all signed before this is. Nicole, will you be providing a copy of this to the auditor's office?
Yes, actually, I'm gonna talk about that.
Okay.
That sends it to me.
The next items that we'll see. System. I think Connie said she sent this out, but
You did email it.
Kim made hard copies for you guys just in case. That's that done.
We got some people sign here. Nicole, are you waiting for this resolution?
Yeah, I just.
Okay.
Oh, of course it was. I'd seen that somewhere.
We like plan and things. Okay, next on our agenda is the Conservancy District, and first item is the resolution of support.
Move.
Jared,
Well, I move we approve the resolution of support.
we have a motion to approve the resolution of support. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Madam President, before we go to a vote, I would like to address something about that resolution very quickly if I could. This resolution, if I may.
Can we do that after we? We're gonna do the financial part also.
Sure, I understand, but I want to address that with you because I don't think the understanding of what this resolution is for may have gotten expressed clearly. So what it is this resolution, I was given a copy today, and it's missing the most essential part of it. Basically, there needs to be some statement of the 4.2 million in this. And so what I would ask is that this resolution be amended. So I'll tell you real quick, just in, this is a lot of legalese. I didn't write it, just to be clear with everybody. Our grant writers wrote it. But right now, what this resolution says, without that 4.2, is that the county is against, just in simple English, is against people drowning. I mean, it's basically you're pro levy, but it really doesn't talk about any financial support in the document itself. This document is necessary. It's the key that we can then say, hey, Dearborn County, Lawrenceburg, Greendale, and the LCD all agree that we're willing to throw 4.2 into a pot. And that pot, that is basically what FEMA is going to look at as what they're going to be giving her. So what their grant is going to be. So what it is that we have a 25% match on that FEMA grant, then they're going to give us 75%. But if we come with them to only showing the 4.2 from Lawrenceburg, LCD, and Greendale, that in fact will reduce our grant by, the about $16.8 million by
Okay,
United.
the only thing we're prepared to do tonight is to entertain this resolution. There's been a motion and a second. Any other discussion by members of county council? All those in favor of adopting the resolution? It says 2026-002, but it must be 003. Andy, is that correct?
It's written as a joint resolution.
Oh, because it's joint. Okay.
Yeah, it would be on the commission.
Any other discussion from county council members? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Here's something.
I don't understand, where does it leave us if we do this?
It's basically just that you guys are pro levy. I mean, that's all it says on this thing. And I understand that, the issue, the fear and everything else like that, that all of a sudden a blank check. In fact, I even saw on the agenda that even says that this money is to come out of the county general. I know for a fact that's impossible, guys, right now, to take 4.2 million out of the county general. So really what it leaves us with is nothing. So but I have an amendment, and if I could read that to you guys, to see that even though you would pledge this, you wouldn't be on the hook for it. Certain conditions would have to be met, and the biggest one is getting an interlocal done, right? Because I can't ask you to put 4.2 million out of your general budget. I mean,
Well, I don't think anyone tonight is prepared to approve a 4 point.
oh, no, but I'm not asking that.
Well, you're putting that in writing.
Can I show you what I'm putting into writing real quick, and then I think that would probably maybe explain the situation. So this is what I'm asking for: any commitment, obligation, or appropriation by Dearborn County to provide funding in an amount not to exceed $4.2 million for the project contemplated herein is expressly contingent upon the satisfaction of each of these following conditions. So the first one is the parties shall negotiate, execute, and deliver a written interlocal cooperation agreement in form and substance acceptable to both Dearborn County and LCD, setting forth the terms, conditions, responsibilities, and obligations of each party with respect to the project. And two, the project shall receive a formal grant award from the Federal Emergency Management, FEMA, or a FEMA administered program, providing funding for the project. So really what it is it's a contingent resolution. The main point of it is there has to be an agreement of how you guys are going to fund this. Because if it's just 4.2, it's done. We got to come up with some better ways that we can go through an interlocal to talk about when the money's going to be given. Because obviously we know you can't write a check for 4.2 million, right? That's an extraordinary ask for the LCD. So what we're asking for is maybe a plan or some other way that the county could pay this money, however, which way, but something that is not to be contemplated at this meeting, but a meeting after we get this grant, if we get the grant, that we would then get into negotiations about how we could do this 4.2. So I'm not asking you to give 4.2. It really is contingent upon whether you got it, right? This year you don't got it, right? We know that. We got to talk to your auditor, and it's not there. So we get that.
Well, it's going to be less there going forward because of Senate Enrolled Act and out-of-state lit credits. So if we can't afford it today, we can't afford it in 2027.
I would disagree with that. And this is why I would disagree with that, is that what you can do is find ways to pay for it. I understand there's gonna be less money coming in, but the issue is that this, and like I said, I'll let you go ahead and do your vote and whatnot before I get in my program, or what I would like to present to you, why this is important. Is that this project is a generational project. And like I said, the importance of it, I understand about the loss of money. I just want to say that this probably, if I could think of what was one of the most important things I've ever touched in my life, this is probably one of the most important things I've ever worked on. And this, for this council, like I said, this is a generational thing. We all know that we live in a clay bowl next to the Ohio, right? In the city of Lawrenceburg and whatnot. And so, like I said, it is of life and death importance to see if we can repair these. And, the LCD, I've got all my members here today of the board. They take this seriously as well. We have members from Lawrenceburg here. We have the mayor of Greendale here. This is a community project. And like I said, it is one, and like I said, I represent the city of Aurora. I get it. Money is tough. We are scared to death of that SB1 coming out, right?
It's already come out. It's already affecting us in 2026.
Understood, understood. The issue is that we know what the gauntlet is before us, right? The issue is I have seen how smart this council is. I've seen how you debated before. There is a way to get this done. And if the issue is of such importance that it must be done, there must be a way to do it. And so, like I said, in fact, my speech that I prepared, my first thing I talk about is getting past no, right? But in any event, I'm fine with you guys taking a vote. I just would ask for that amendment to put that on there, because otherwise it's pretty much useless for our purposes with FEMA.
So is there a deadline when you guys had to have this?
Well, that's why
Yes.
we're having this meeting tonight, because they said we had to have a meeting now.
Yeah,
So we were trying to be accommodating.
and I appreciate it. It's coming very quick. It's coming in probably early May, late April. Of course, with the government shutdown, we may be stuck waiting a little bit longer, but it is coming. And so what it is the process itself is they give you like a week's headroom to get all your documents in. Now, we have a great grant writer that's getting all of our ducks in a row so we can make that pitch to FEMA as soon as possible. And I can't thank you enough for just putting us on the agenda to get this.
When are you actually requesting the money from council?
The first step is we got to get the grant, right? So we get the grant, we get the engineering hasn't even been fully finished, or we get the grant, we start our engineering, and then we have to get a shovel into dirt. So it'd be 3 to 4 years possibly from now that we would actually be asking for this money. So there is some time before we would ask you to write some money. And then even then, the question is,
Wouldn't be the total amount.
I mean,
Isn't it like periodic?
we can do that's the issue with the interlocal is coming up with how could we get this done for you over the next couple of years.
But if you got a grant, you gotta have the money earmarked before they're gonna approve the grant.
Not with this one. They want to show the support that it's there, right? So you're used to some of those statewide grants and whatnot. The federal government, what they want to see is that the cities and adjoining communities would be willing to put themselves in that position. If it falls through and we can't match it, well, we might be on the hook for your portion of it, right? And that could happen. But the issue is this, is we're trying to get our foot in the door to get FEMA. And I just want to say this, we talk about grant programs. This one right here, every dollar that the county would spend to this is equal to $12 of federal funding. I mean, we're getting a 12-to-1 ratio. You're getting a 12-to-1 ratio on this. We're getting a 12-to-1 for our money. So is Greendale and so is Lawrence.
I thought it was 25% and they're matching it with 75%.
That's correct. So that's 1/4 times basically 4.
Because of 4 entities.
Yes, because there's 4 entities. So it actually,
I know.
that's
Not the way, that's fuzzy math there.
It's
25% is
what it
25%.
is, if I was talking about your commitment to this, every dollar you send is going to get us $12. Right? Without you, we can't make it. So I don't know if, like I said, I'd like you to pass that amendment tonight with this. And I had a copy for your attorney to append exactly how I wrote it to this resolution. But this would get our foot in the door with them. One thing I want to say is, I think everybody knows how critical this is. Basically,
No question about
Sure.
that. We've heard the pitch. I've been to the meeting. I understand the importance of the levy. County council is responsible for county government. When we did our budget for 2026, there was a shortfall in property tax revenue because of Senate Rule Act 1. There was also a shortfall, which at the time of budget, we did not get those numbers, but there was a shortfall in lit by about $400,000 due to the out-of-state credits. So that's been phased in. So this year, lit, instead of going up a little bit or even flat, went down. So I don't have a crystal ball, but I can see this pattern for a while that the county is going to be in less and less and less of a position to do anything other than taking care of different county government. So I feel like this is something that I'm not really that comfortable with your amendment, because I'm not sure that Dearborn County government could honor it. Now, if you're saying that if Dearborn County government can't honor it, perhaps other entities could fill that gap, I could live with that understanding. But I mean, to me, it's almost like smoke and mirrors. If we were to say that we are agreeing to this amendment of a commitment of this amount, knowing full well that it's highly unlikely that we could come up with those kinds of dollars.
So, thank you for that. So let me tell you, it's not highly unlikely. There's a possibility, right? So, me and Mr. Kittle, we got a chance to talk to your auditor. We got to look at some of the accounts, found out most of it, like I said, I understand where you're coming from, President, but, it's tough, right? But there is sources of money there. One of the big ones we saw was the hospital fund, right? It's restricted for 10 years. $10 million in that. Okay.
There's $5 million in that.
There's $5 million in that. That's restricted funds right now. I think it's in CDs. I think you're getting interest on it. But that's the kind of thoughts we're giving is that the money may not be available today, and you may need that money for other, you've said it, that they're taking away a lot of your revenue. And first of all, I didn't do SB1. I wrote a letter to the governor on behalf of Aurora asking, why would you do this to us, right? Especially for a little municipality like Aurora.
I'd like to say this much, about the hospital. This was money, this is a one-time opportunity for Dearborn County government to be having our nodes above water. That will never happen in my lifetime again. So the monies that we received, the county received from the High Point sale to St. Elizabeth was a one-time revenue stream. It has allowed Dearborn County government for the first time in forever to have what we should have in the way of reserves and things that are going to, like in the next 5 years when that money can be released, who knows what our needs are.
Sure, but
so for you to say that we've got this, sitting out there and we could expend that for that $4.2 million, there's no guarantee that we would not need it for, some bridges that failed or whatever.
Well,
I just find it a little bit, I guess, inappropriate for you to decide that we've got X number of dollars that are available perhaps down the road.
Well, I never mean to be inappropriate. I swear I don't. Like I said, I have a problem, right? That is not just a problem for me. It's a problem for this county. It's a problem for the citizens of Greendale. It's a problem for Lawrenceburg. And the only thing I'm asking this council to do is help me problem solve, right? This isn't, I think there gets into some positions that, only 10% of the population lives here. We got 90% of the other county to worry about. That strikes home to me. I get it. Why would someone from Bright care about this? Why would somebody from Manchester care that Lawrenceburg floods, right? Why would they care?
Everybody should care because there's a revenue stream there. And
We got the most jobs, the most tax base and everything down here.
I absolutely agree with that. And the other reasons I agree with that is also we're the main point of transportation to the entire county, right? US 50, our spur to 275. You can get out of the county on 74. I agree. But this is where most people are funneling if they want to go to Cincinnati, Ohio, to their jobs elsewhere, or people from Ohio or Kentucky they come through our area. We are protecting those roads right there. So I'm glad that you guys kind of understand that this is really, and like I said, President, you stated this is the first time we have our nose above water. We're looking to keep your nose above water, literally. And the issue is that the threat is real. Last year I helped clean up the city of Aurora. They don't have a levee system like that. We were scrubbing basements, businesses were done. The whole city shut down for almost 2 weeks. Cost the city about $50,000. That's, chump change to most people. For us, that's a real hit. And so, through the years, like I said, President, you stated it, you understand how, you look out the window right there's a levee, we know it's protecting us. We know that, throughout the years, anytime it gets over 57 feet of flood level, this courthouse, but for the levee, our socks would be wet right now. We would have to evacuate the prison. We'd have to close down county business. Probation would close down. Everything we're talking about is done. Basically, this levee is kind of the bedrock we sit on. So, I don't want to beat to death. That's important. I don't mean to be inappropriate. Like I said, I think the issue here is a lack of solutions, right? And I think the solutions are there. It just takes some mathematics. It takes some work, and we're willing to help you with that if you can help us. And I think that this council, and if we look at the levee in general, this project, that levee project, when it was first built in 41, was kind of like the federal government gave us a Corvette, right? This is one of the best pieces of infrastructure ever created by man. It's the second most complicated levee system after the first they had in Montana with our relief wells and the other facilities. And we got this thing. And, you know, what happened is that I think there was a little short-sightedness about the longevity of keeping this levee up. You got some political infighting. I don't think money was spent the way it should have been. And now we're sitting here looking at this levee. We need to get this thing accredited to make sure that we can continue to allow Lawrenceburg to survive. And so we have right now a kind of a Rubicon, a river we're crossing here. Are we going to be able to keep these levees solid, or are we going to have to come up with another plan where we start diminishing our capacity and the like, meaning that we're going to basically, because we don't have the money to do it, we're going to have to shrink the very cities that we have our income from, our ways of travel, employment. The county government would possibly have to move. I mean, I don't want to get that drastic. I think we're going to find a way, you know, to do something. But this right here is an opportunity. It has come up. We have a wonderful representative and Representative Erin Houchin. She's pro this levee system. You know, she came to us and said, you guys, this is a perfect vehicle for something that we could do as a federal government to help fix these levees for you. And by fixing them, what we've done then is create safety and security, both in life, property, and anything else for at least another 60, 70 years, right? In fact, the plan here is that I was talking to Mr. Kittle, we had a long discussion, and the issue is not so much how do we fix them currently, but how do we keep them fixed moving into the future? And so me and Jim been talking seriously of how, when I leave this position, which I won't always be the attorney here, he won't always be the chairman, he keeps trying to not run for the next one, but it'll happen. How do we set this up that we can be financially secure into the future? And so the plan here is that we have a magic opportunity right now. And of course, we know the county has its challenges. City of Lawrenceburg has its challenges. Greendale has its challenges. We, of course, have our challenges, but this is our opportunity. And
Could you go back and explain how your addendum would work if the county were not able to honor that?
Well, basically, the addendum has two contingencies in there. Basically, it's done. If we can't come to terms on how you guys are able to appropriate those funds and the like, there is no agreement, right? We can't, there's no legal, basically, we're saying here, you owe us 4.2 if we can come to terms on a separate agreement. If that doesn't happen, there is no agreement for 4.2.
So it's gotta be 4.2 or nothing.
It's got to be 4.2 or nothing.
Hey, wait a minute. Now, what if somebody else comes to the table with more money and we come with less money? You're saying I mean, or somebody wants to bond some part of it. I mean, there's other avenues. We can't
Absolutely.
afford it. And but you are asking us to commit $4.2 million.
Subject to these contingencies. Yes.
Mr. Bond, that's what you want.
I was just gonna echo what Jared's saying. The resolution's not binding. What would be binding contractual relationship would be the subsequent interlocal agreement. So Greendale's done a resolution, or Lawrenceburg's done a resolution. They've got their 4.2 million in there, but the LCD can't go to Greendale and say, hey, we want our 4.2 million right now, because there's no contractual language. There's no contractual agreement between them, because there's no interlocal agreement between them yet. So the amendment Jared has would add that language in there, add the 4.2 in there, but contingent upon the execution of an interlocal agreement, plus contingent upon them actually receiving a grant. Does that make sense? The resolutions, it's not a contract.
So Mr. Eubank, you have a resolution provided by the city of Lawrenceburg for 4.2, is that correct?
That's correct.
You have one from the city of Greendale for 4.2.
That's correct.
You have one from the board for the Conservancy District?
Yes, that's correct.
And if we pass one at a lower rate, can any of those resolutions be amended to get you to the 25% that you need?
I don't believe so. And the reason being is that what they want is a shared equal partnership between the local
Who's
stakeholders.
they?
Yeah,
FEMA.
shared.
Yep.
FEMA wants shared.
Yep, they want a shared
You
commitment.
want a certain amount of money and you want 4 people to participate,
Correct.
but it doesn't have to be.
Evenly shared.
Yeah.
Yeah, what 4 people?
So City of Lawrenceburg, City of Greendale, us, LCD, and the Dearborn County. So those are
But
Who decides those four?
those are the local stakeholders of overlapping jurisdiction. So if this was only for Lawrenceburg, we would still be asking the county, because Dearborn County is Lawrenceburg and vice versa. So we would still be asking for money even if it was just for Lawrenceburg. If it was just for Greendale, we'd still be asking you for the money. But like I said, our jurisdiction is Greendale, Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg's jurisdiction is Lawrenceburg. Greendale's jurisdiction is Greendale. The county's everybody's jurisdiction. So I hope did that answer it? Go ahead.
I got a question. Flood insurance.
Yep.
Is there any properties in Lawrenceburg that have to pay any flood insurance?
Zero.
Okay, cause I've talked to business owners on down US 50. I've heard prices from $4,000 a year to $20,000 a year. And I was setting real estate closings for residential properties and seeing people personal property, just real estate for a house, residential, pay up to $1,000 a year for flood insurance. But because we have the levy, the city of Lawrenceburg residents and businesses do not have to pay a penny.
That's correct.
Why don't we go to the residences that pay? There's gonna be a flood insurance assessment.
Yeah, and so one of the things we priced that out, basically to look at, if we did a special benefits tax, could that cover the project? And it is, well, I mean, the issue with this is, I think, I don't have the math in front of me, but we were looking at $30,000-$40,000 a person to cover some of this, to get up to that 60 or $60.8 million that we're gonna be asking the federal government.
But you're looking for the 4.2 million. Why couldn't the stakeholders in the town of Lawrenceburg that have residential and the commercial businesses put something in on this to help pay for this 4.2 million? Because I agree with Liz, I can't commit to something that we don't have, and I don't know. And here's another problem, Jared, and I know, and most taxpayer people in the county don't understand the difference between the city of Lawrenceburg and the LCD.
Correct.
I totally understand that. But last week on Monday, I was driving down US 50. There was an announcement on the radio that said, call the city hall, sign up for your 6-yard free dumpster. Okay, that's one thing I've heard. Another thing I've heard in the past at the city of Lawrenceburg, and I know people that got 10 yards of concrete, and I don't know whether it was the labor for it or the actual materials. And then I saw in the paper or on Facebook somewhere, we're having a city picnic. In order to qualify for any of the prizes, you have to be a resident of Lawrenceburg. Now, I know and understand that seems like nickel and dime stuff.
I don't think.
But the average person out in Sparta, Manchester, Clay, Cedar Creek Township does not understand why we need to spend the county's money to support this. I see where you're coming from. But the thing for most of the residents out in the county, it's a pretty hard pill to say, hey, and like this year, my property tax is going up $300. So like property taxes going up 300. Now all of a sudden you're committing 4.2 million. But you're still getting free dumpsters, free laptop computers, college tuition paid for your seniors, and on. And most people don't see the difference.
I hear you. And
I would do. Let me ask you something. Do the residents of Lawrenceburg and Greendale pay the same county taxes, county people?
I'm not sure. I'm not the.
they pay more. I mean, they have the city rate.
Well, I know that, but
You're talking about
you
this.
still pay a county tax.
Yeah, you pay it.
Correct.
county. But I want to say one thing, Glenn.
That's by the township. It's usually they post that, what the tax rate is per, Leah probably can tell you that. I don't know it off the top of my head.
You know, Glenn, you asked a good question. Here we are, you got Lawrenceburg, who basically writes a check to everybody else. I mean, Aurora right now, if we don't get that riverboat money from the county, we're toast, right? Lawrenceburg gives that to the county, you know, there's really no agreement that Lawrenceburg gives it, they do, but you know, it's one of these issues, you said it, we're not Lawrenceburg. Do I disagree with you? I wish Lawrenceburg would contribute the whole 60 million. Could they do it? Probably, right? They ain't doing it for whatever political reasons they have. To me, you look at it and you go, why have we resolved to tribalism? We're all Dearborn County citizens. We all live and use county. I mean, when people ask me where you from, I say Dearborn County, right? This is Dearborn County, this is my home, right? It doesn't matter where I live. You know, here I am. I live in Greendale. I work in Lawrenceburg, and I represent the city of Aurora, right? You know, a lot of people live that same life. We're trans citizens of the entire county. I can't talk for Lawrenceburg. I don't know. They're giving away all this free stuff, and they're kind of freeloading. And here we are asking you guys with a tight budget to give us 4.2 million. Why don't we shake in Mayor Kelly and say, give us some more money to do this?
I would say this in defense of the city of Lawrenceburg, that I would give them the grace of their being willing to step up if they see that there's no possibility for the county to meet that level that you're asking for, which I totally agree with Glenn. And as I said previously, even looking down the road, I don't see us being in a position to honor that level of funding. We have a motion on the floor. It's been discussed quite a bit. I'd like to call for a vote to.
If it does them no good, I don't understand why we're doing it.
Because it does show that we are supportive of the.
And I think
request.
you're looking for $68.7 million with a 25% match, so you're looking to get $16.8 million or between the four entities. And I don't really think FEMA cares who puts in how much, as long as you got the commitment and the support on paper. And if you can come up with the $16.8 million, you're gonna, for every dollar you put in, you're gonna get $3 more if the grant ever gets approved.
Right.
And I mean, I know that they've had some roadblocks here with Trump administration did away with the brick grant. And I don't know how that's affecting everybody or how they plan to get the grant money or where it's gonna come from now, but.
You correct me if I'm wrong, but if we commit some dollars, but not the full amount, that reduces the total amount of the match, so 25 to 75. Versus if the Conservancy District or whoever puts more money in, then they're gonna get $4 returned on, $3 returned on that dollar put in.
Yeah, and I have a simple understanding of that as well. My grant writer says it has to be equal. That's where I'm getting that from. You know, so maybe.
I just find that hard to believe. Just,
I kind of question it myself,
I don't buy it.
Madam President, but that's what they're telling me is that.
excuse me, if you'd like to come and comment, I'm gonna ask you to come and identify yourself. And please keep your comments brief.
Absolutely. So I think one thing for this board to consider is if it floods, if this levee fails, if you guys think lit affects you guys and the decreases that you guys are currently receiving affects you guys, imagine when the
Did you say
casino
your
pulls
name?
out. Dylan Little, Lawrenceburg City Council. Imagine if the casino closes down because there is a catastrophic flood in the city of Lawrenceburg. How does that affect your guys' gaming revenue?
Appreciate your comments. I think we're all very much aware of that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Eubank, I think everybody up here agrees with your comments of the significance of the levy. Nobody is questioning that. We realize that it's multiple stakeholders, right? I think one of the things I'm hesitant is we're throwing a number in there that we all are very uncomfortable with. And even if there's exit strategies or clauses for that, it implies a certain level of support that none of us are comfortable that we can even see a future. I think we're all willing to put pen to paper and do the work on budgets in the upcoming years for whoever sits on this board. I think there's a strong support to get behind and help with this project. But to call us all equal stakeholders in this is not, I don't think everybody up here is going to agree with that comment. And I'm not comfortable with the number that you have proposed in that resolution. And I don't know how much time we have to amend that resolution. But I'm not comfortable giving an implication that we might be on board for that amount, because I don't think that's the reality.
We don't even know where our funding's coming from,
Sure.
18 months from now.
I understand. I understand. My question to you, Mr. Bell, what would put you into that comfort level? What would you like to see from us? Because like I said, this is the most important thing I ever touched. I'm willing to put the work in. I know my board is willing to put the work in. I mean, heck, whatever we can do to show you how you could do it, or how we could fund this, or other options for financing.
We're asking for a commitment 4 years down the road, and it's to be good stewards of the county's money. We don't even know where our revenue is coming from 18 months down the road.
Sure.
So it's hard to commit to something 4 years down the road.
And if we do have the ability to hang on to those kind of funds, the most responsible thing for us to do is to make sure that we maintain low taxes, so those dollars roll back into the pocket of the tax holder, not to commit to a project that I personally believe somebody else should have more skin in the game. So I would like to see where it says that they have to be 4 equal shares in this.
So if I got you that'd be something.
That would be the next step.
Well, can I ask this then? Right, since you've asked these questions, I don't have the answer to it. I wish I could tell you why it has to be an equal contribution. Would you be willing to table this rather than just vote no?
Let me tell you this, we have this meeting tonight because we were told that there was a timeline pressure, and that's why we had not scheduled a meeting for tonight. And we're holding it tonight, and now you're saying because it had to be now or never, and now you're saying table and we'll do it later.
Ms. Moore.
I mean, I'm having a hard time reconciling that.
You're making an argument that is not there. The issue is this is so important.
Making
Please, look, the issue is this, is that if we have to punt for a year to make sure we can get this project done, we're gonna punt for a year, right? If we have to do it next year, we're trying to go for this year to get this project going, because right now we got the support of Lawrenceburg and Greendale. We kind of got on a hot roll here. We got to postpone a year, right? You know, things change in those times and whatnot, right? So we're trying to hit now, but it's so important that if you say no to this, we're done, right? There's the levies, you know, you're talking about equal payment and everything else. So that's tough, you know, of course.
Hey, Jared, one thing.
Excuse me, would you like to wait until you get to the microphone, identify yourself if you're gonna make a few comments, and please keep them brief.
I just wanted to, again, thank you guys for the time tonight. But one thing about the resolutions, in those resolutions, if the county does not give their 4.2, then Greendale and Lawrenceburg is not going to contribute. So when we say that's built into their resolutions that you guys, I think, or should have been.
We've never seen their resolution.
You have your attorney's been provided with me. He actually created this resolution in front of me based on those. So I'd be happy to print those out. And like I said, that's why I would rather table this for another 3 months and we come back with some more information for you than just a straight no now. Because if you haven't seen this stuff, like I said.
In 3 months, I don't see where we're gonna have a $4.2 million. We don't have it today, we're not gonna have it in 3 months.
Well,
I thought we were giving you a yes by passing this and then discussing how much this board could.
Yeah, I think
collectively afford.
I think that got missed probably in translation somewhere when we did our other meeting. But the issue is that this right here, this resolution is our ticket that we put those together. We send that to FEMA along with all the other requirements.
Okay, so as I understood, you said that if the 4.2 that is in there just because it should be in there and there's no real binding commitment on the county's part.
Right.
And if I understood Mr. Kittle's statement, then if we were not able to honor this non-committed committal of the 4.2, then the whole project falls apart.
That's correct. So I think you're missing the biggest point. The reason we want this is so we can talk to FEMA to see if the grant's even available, right? If we can get the grant and then we can't match it, well, the grant's done there. That's another contingency. What we're trying to do is get over the first contingency that we have 4 partners that are willing to pledge 4.2 million.
But if we don't feel like Dearborn County government is in a position to pledge, we are in favor of the project. We would like to come up with some dollar amount, but the dollar amount is not $4.2 million.
Okay. Well, like I said, I think that takes further discussion because if it's not the 4.2, what is that number? And I don't want you guys to answer it right now because I'm telling you, like I said, I went over your budget. It's tough. And I can absolutely see.
Thank you for auditing our books.
Well,
I'd like
that wasn't the purpose, Liz. I really wanted to make sure this is understood.
You're saying though.
No,
that
no,
we
no,
can
no,
afford it.
no.
Like
I
many people,
I
you
think this
can
has been
afford
very
this.
combative and I didn't want it to be this way. I think the issue is this, is that,
We were trying to be accommodating.
well, you have been accommodating. We thank you.
We held this meeting
Thank you.
specifically to try to help with this project, which we understand about the flooding and everything, Mr. Little. We understand about all that. That is important. The levees are extremely important. But I just find it just a bit much.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now, the comment about auditing it, that's not a fair comment. The comment it should be is, what we're
You
trying.
told us earlier, and I hate to be this combative, but you told us earlier, you're going to show us how we can afford it.
No, what I said is, I want to assist you in any way I can, and this is an important project. I mean, the issue is this, is I can't tell you how to spend your money, right?
But
How, where to get it from.
You said that you're gonna show us how we can afford it down the road.
There is accounts there. I mean, I just want to make sure you guys are aware. When I saw that on the.
Very much aware
Okay.
of what's there. And we're very much aware that it wasn't that long ago, we ended the year with something like $64,000 is all we had in county general. We passed a jail lit that over the 7 years of its existence has generated a little over $21 million. If we hadn't passed that lit, what our balance would have been at the end of 2024 would have been maybe 2 million, maybe. For a county this size, it's not nearly enough. So between the one-time, once in a lifetime from High Point Health and the fact that we've passed 2 lits that benefit the county, we've passed another lit, the EMS lit, which benefits every entity, including cities and towns in the county. I think we've tried to be as good as stewards as we can. And we started 10 years ago with very little in the bank. And that's why I'm saying, and I think Mr. Glenn Wright said the same thing, is that we are finally in a position that is a lot more, where the county's a lot more solvent. There are any number of things that can go south in a county this size.
Sure.
If a bridge washes out, who has to pay for that? The county. Have we had that happen? Yes. So, because sitting here today, if you look at my checking account balance or the county's check balance, maybe things look pretty good today. A few things go south and all of a sudden you find yourself in difficult straits. So I just really am just a little bit taken aback about, the statement that you can show us how we can afford this.
And like I said, that statement wasn't made to offend you or to tell you, it was basically in regards to trying to come up with a problem solution, right? And so I do not want to tell you how to do your job. And if that came off that way, I apologize to this council. And first off, thank you, council. I'm the resident of this county. You guys have done a great job over the years, keeping my property taxes low. But like I said, Liz, this is the most important thing I've ever touched. I'll give Greg the mic and I'll just be done here, but like I said, it's one of the most important things I touched. And like I said, I'm willing to do whatever to help. If it's, problem solving, coming up with any solution, I'm willing to help with that. The board's willing to help with that. We're not here to audit your books. That was not the intent. It was just to understand, right? And we have an understanding. It's a tight budget. In fact, it is a very tight budget. There's no issue or rhyme or reason that it isn't. So maybe I'll let Mr. Greg McAdams speak. And council, I just want to say thank you for, like I said, can't thank you enough for giving us even time to talk today. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. Greg McAdams, Conservancy District. We've talked about a high water event, but we're not covering something else. If we lose our accreditation for the levy, you're gonna see businesses bail out if they have to pay for flood insurance. You're not gonna see new business come.
Mr. Seymour made that point the last time we all were here.
Okay, well, I just want to make that point again and make sure everybody's thinking about that, because those are your tax dollars also. And a lot of it. So that's why folks in Manchester and everything should be worried about this. Because you may have to do a rate increase to get that additional money, and that you're going to lose, possibly. That's all.
So you're telling us to raise taxes?
Oh, I don't,
You said a rate increase.
I said you may. If 3, 4 large businesses down here go out of business, that's less money that you get, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then how do you cover your budget? You're saying you're so tight now. How do you cover your budget then? Thank you.
Me being living in Lawrenceburg, the levy is very important, and I just want to comment that I would be willing to commit to their, because we would figure it out
You
down the
would
road.
commit to the $4.2
Yeah,
million.
just like we figured it out when we built this building and built the jail, we figured it out.
Well, it took us a very long time to save the money to be able to pay for these projects. And if I remember correctly, you voted no for those projects.
I did. That's county dollars.
Well, so with the
Well,
4.2.
I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm telling you how I would vote. I didn't want the board speaking for me when we said we're not comfortable with it, because I am comfortable with it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're, in fact, by saying that, you're saying that you would be in favor of some kind of tax increase. I don't know where else you get the money.
Well, I voted on the last two the tax increase we had. I voted them down,
Yes, you did.
so maybe I would be this time. I thought it was going to a good project.
So the public safety lit and the jail lit. I mean, it's, okay, I think we've gone down enough roads. We have a motion and we can either table it or we can vote on it. Sure.
We have a motion and a second, and I think we should go ahead and vote on it. It's not gonna hurt anything. And if we choose to amend it and we come up with some other kind of way that we can support it or a different number, we can always amend it and put it in there.
Is that right, Andy? If there was, if we adopted this resolution, we could amend it if we wanted to come back and add a number?
Yeah.
And likewise, any other entity could do that as well.
You have a meeting scheduled, May?
May 6th.
But we're voting on the resolution here as it's written, correct?
As written,
Without Jared's amendment.
correct. That's the motion and the second. You want to, you're willing to go forward with your motion?
I am.
Okay.
I'd
Any other
like to
discussion?
hold my second then.
Is there a second? If there's no second, the motion fails for lack of a second.
I just figured it can't hurt them any, you know, so.
Second thing on our agenda was discussion of monetary support for the grant. Since we're not supporting the resolution, I don't see any point in going forward with that tonight. Does anyone have a different opinion on that?
That's why I wanted to pass the resolution, but that's,
You don't think that conversation could help lead to help? If anybody else's amendments need to be changed, or any other resolutions from any other communities need to be changed? I hear Mr. Eubanks' comment about equal share, but that seems incredibly off to me, but.
So the second part of the agenda called for a discussion of monetary support for the grant.
it's a resolution for support and monetary support for the grant, so
Resolution for support and discussion of
we dropped,
monetary support for grant.
the motion, I guess, for the resolution, so.
So you consider this all done?
Well, I mean, if we don't have the support for the resolution, well, what's the sense in discussing? That was my point. I mean,
Well, we didn't support the resolution as it was written,
Okay,
right?
I mean, I'll discuss whatever you guys want to discuss. It's kind of counterproductive here at this point, if you ask me, but I think we should show our support for the project, and if we don't want to come up, if we're not comfortable as a whole board coming up with the amount they're requesting, then tell them what amount we are gonna come up with, but you have to have both of them.
So I guess that's my, what I'm struggling with. It's like,
Yeah.
if we don't have the resolution adopted, do we do the second part of that agenda item? It seems like Mr. Gall is thinking that perhaps we could go forward.
I'm asking procedurally, can we make a different resolution other than what was presented here tonight? Whether that is of use to them or not, we can at least show support through a resolution.
As written, the resolution, the motion to approve the resolution failed for lack of said. If there are amendments to what is written.
Yeah, so we didn't vote it down, it just failed for lack of a second. So it didn't, so we can still amend that motion,
I've had
resolution.
Either of this whole time, if you wanted to make any changes to it, so. I mean, if council wanted to make any changes to it, then that's certainly within your.
Then I think we should move forward with the discussion. And then if somebody wants to make an amendment, they can make that motion. That's my personal opinion. As long as that, according to our lawyers,
Discussion of
what level of support might be. There might be an appetite or financial backing from this board.
So the monetary support for the grant.
Yes.
I'd be open to having that discussion.
I got a question for Jerry. You quoted a value of $30,000 to $40,000 per person, I believe. Is that to fund the whole project you're talking about, or?
It would be to fund the whole project.
Has there been any capitalization done as far as the citizens of Lawrenceburg paying X number of dollars towards flood insurance?
It's about, so what we looked at, it was the Greendale area. We didn't actually do a report on what Lawrenceburg, because, there's 700 properties in Lawrenceburg.
Right.
And so we looked at Greendale, which only has about 80. So, Jim, do you remember what that number was? It was substantial.
So,
it was,
as far as what the potential income from collecting some money from the residents towards flood insurance, which basically prevents them. Right now, they don't have to pay a penny for it, correct?
correct.
So you're saying there's 700 houses in Lawrenceburg that are protected by this and only 80 in Greendale, and the federal grant writers are telling you they have to be equal partners in this?
Yes, because just so you, and I know that sounds different, but the issue is that the Greendale levy, the Lawrenceburg levy, it's all one facility, all one system. And yes, there's many walls, pumps, trenches and the like throughout both areas. But the Greendale levy protects Lawrenceburg and Lawrenceburg protects the Greendale. So it's kind of all one project together. So basically I don't want to say it's impossible. I'm not an engineer. I can't really tell you exactly if it could be engineered where we could, leave Greendale out of the system. I don't know that. My engineers are telling me it's all one system and we need to look at it as one piece. Did that answer? I feel like I kind of got.
Well, I understand you're looking at the project as one piece, but that doesn't make everybody equal stakeholders.
Understood. And, like I said, if we could get something from this board, well less than the 4.2, you're not one budget. That's at least something I can get back to my grant writers. So I truly appreciate the continued conversation on this, that if you believe that the county has less of a stake, at least we could have some number to them that.
Which was the purpose of doing a resolution saying that we were supportive of the project. And then secondarily on our agenda was a discussion of a monetary commitment. So I guess that's why I got a little surprised that the resolution is apparently not going to be helpful.
No, that number, the numerical number on there is the most important thing on there, because that's what FEMA's going to look at to figure out the grant, right? So you have to have the number on the resolution.
And they're gonna look at an accumulation of all the numbers on all the resolutions.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
I think that's probably accurate.
Does Nicole know how many parcels are in the county? Real property parcels total?
Last check. Is about 3,000.
And you know what percentage of, well, you probably don't off the top of your head. But I'm just wondering what percentage of those fall within the 100-year floodplain? To me, let's take West Harrison as an example. So I imagine and you've sat in real estate closings like I have, and seen the amount of money these people have to pay for flood insurance. You know, and here, if you're buying a property in the city of Lawrenceburg, you're paying zero. But you're wanting somebody in West Harrison that has to pay flood insurance. Give up some money so Lawrenceburg doesn't have to pay anything. And that's the thing that's hard.
It's hard,
for me to swallow.
I understand that. One of the issues here is that the reason why Lawrenceburg has the money, the tax base that it does, is because they're not paying those flood taxes, right? They're paying those flood taxes. I can tell you this right now, the Greendale levy area there. I mean, you know, you have Caltent, a bunch of other factories, a bunch of other different, you know, high price things that keep the engine of government going. I mean, basically, the engine of government isn't made on the 1% tax rate you can get on residents. It's built on the 3% you can get off of businesses. That's a huge area. And I know that there's been, you know, I don't even want to bring it up. Of course, it's been TIFed. It's not going to be TIFed next year. So that money right there all of a sudden starts flowing into the county again with the growth. So that's one of the issues, is that why, if I was a resident of Harrison, why I would be in support of it is because those companies in Greendale and Lawrenceburg are helping to support my road infrastructure, you know, like the taxes from there. If that tax base gone, I mean, heck, it's easy to skip, hop and jump over the Ohio River and go to northern Kentucky for a lot of these businesses. You know, they're here. We want to keep them. We want to keep them in Dearborn County. I think that the citizens, I've seen some of the arguments about, you know, building, expanding, or doing any kind of infrastructure out in the county. People don't want that. They don't want to build factories out there in West Harrison, but we got them here in Lawrenceburg, right? We have the, you know, the distillery and everything else like that. Those are worth keeping because they do offset the amount of money the residents would have to pay. So I hope that answers that question.
Somewhat.
It's tough, right? I mean, I get you. It's a hard argument. If I was sitting in West Harrison, like, why should I care about Lawrenceburg? Why do they get cheaper taxes and all this other stuff? Well, I'm sorry, not cheaper taxes. Why don't they have to pay flood insurance? Well, the issue is because the county's going to get extra money because those businesses are there anyway. So, thank you.
Any other? I had some consternation over the dollar amount that Mr. Eubank had included in his amendment. The rest of the verbiage on his amendment that he was suggesting, is there anything in there that gives you pause? Can you speak to those? Since we haven't seen that amendment before just tonight.
No, I think I know that he's not here tonight. I know Commissioner Turner had raised concerns about entering into something that's not supposed to be binding, and only to find out later that it was binding. I think there was an issue in Dillsboro when he was out there. I think the contingencies are good. I think they protect the county as written. Again, the contractual relationship, I think it's the next item on our agenda, is an interlocal agreement. I mean, we have one with Ohio County after this discussion. So that's the contractual relationship. And that's the same thing that Greendale would need to have with the LCD, Lawrenceburg would need to have with the LCD, before any money can change hands. I mean, if you
Well,
send.
I just feel like the number that you're including in there is not good faith bargaining on our part. I'm not gonna put a number in there that I don't think there's any way we can stand by. That's where I get caught up. I'm comfortable putting a number in there after having some discussion with this board, and hopefully we can come to an agreement. Maybe it's $0, I don't know, but I think it's worth having a conversation. I would like to provide something to say, to recognize that this board all understands the significance of this levy. This board wants to do their part to the extent that we can, and it's financially prudent. We want to be judicious with the funds and be responsible with those and get as many of them back in the pockets of the taxpayers as possible, while still protecting the integrity of this levy, the integrity of our community. We realize that even though there might not be county houses in this area, it's a major throughway and it's the heartbeat of Dearborn County. Our courthouse resides here. Our jail resides here. We all understand the significance of it, and that, I guess I can't say we all. I understand the significance of these buildings and us having skin in the game, and we want to come to the grant writers and say, yeah, we want to have skin in the game. We want to be a participant, but I'm not going to throw out a bad faith number that we cannot stand by. Mm-hmm. So I would like to open the conversation, if anybody's willing to have it, about, is there a number that you are comfortable with that we could include in this resolution They can tear it up when they leave this room, but I feel like we at least need to have a good faith effort conversation to say what level of support are we comfortable with.
I agree with that.
And I'd say too, I think the way it was written, it was an up to 4.2 is how you had it written. So I think that, I understand what you're saying. You don't want to say, hey, we're committed to 4.2 when there's nobody actually
Right,
leaves
right up to
$4.2.
$1 billion in there and see if they, what they do with it.
Right? So just to play devil's advocate, so that it says up to 4.2 million. And I think if they're saying that they're not even actually going to come to the county for the ask for 3 or 4 years, then that's where that even harder discussion is going to be of, okay, we did a resolution up to 4.2 million. Okay, what actually can we contribute? And with Senate Bill 1 from last year, and they mess with that again this year, and they'll probably mess with it again next year, especially with it being a budget year. I mean, there's
We hear
lots going to change
harmless
between
is
three.
coming next too.
Yes.
I mean, it was discussed at the state level this year and they tabled it.
Yeah.
The intention of putting it off till next year. That's a big bust coming if it does come.
So.
So how do we get started on a number?
Well, it's, to me, right now, it's the chicken and the egg. Are we revisiting the resolution with the amendment, with it going only, with the understanding that it's not going to be 4.2, but the language says up to, but we're not obligated to that? Are we revisiting that? Or
Yeah, that failed for a lack of motion as it is written.
right.
So I think we need a motion to amend that with a number. I think that's one conversation.
With a hard number that we're committing to. Is that what you're
Not,
saying?
still the not to exceed language,
So you're good.
because it's future, we're talking about future here.
So you're good with the amendment that Mr. Eubank has provided?
As long as Mr. Bonda is still with the change of the number, as long as our county attorney says that he is okay with those amendments from a legal standpoint.
So, yeah, it's a not to exceed 4.2 million. So it's the up to the $4.2 million, but that's contingent upon the negotiation between the county and the LCD of an interlocal agreement. The interlocal agreement would need to be approved by the LCD's board as well as county council and county commissioners.
Who negotiates that? That sounds like a mess.
As somebody who went round and round with the cities and towns about 911 interlocals for the past few years, it can be a mess. It can be very stressful. And it's contingent, the other contingency is that they actually receive a grant. They can't just say, hey, we're calling that 4.2 million due, even though we don't have a grant.
But since we called this meeting tonight specifically to try to address this, I am not happy walking out of this building with this not being addressed. I mean, it's been talked about, but with no definitive action. I totally agree that we cannot afford the 4.2. If the language up to does not commit the county, which it sounds like you're comfortable in saying that it does not, I would be willing to reopen discussion on passing the resolution with that amendment, so we actually have the papers together tonight. And if that's not possible, then we'd have to wait till May.
He just said before, if we don't commit 4.2 million, Lawrenceburg and Greendale are out. That's what
We're
you
not
said.
responsible for their resolution.
Yeah, I thought you said we can't get it.
That's basically why I hold that. We want to give them a hard number and see what happens, and we can go from there.
Well, I don't know that we can, we don't have the way to do the paperwork. I'm sorry, Dennis, what?
Make a motion and I'll second.
Well, we gotta come up with a number.
Well, you also have to have a document that can be, I mean, can you make an amendment that's not even in existence?
Oh, I would, while I'm sitting here, I would add this in and ask Leah, very nicely ask Leah to print it off before you guys left. I would add, if the motion was to approve the resolution as amended with the LCD's requested language, then I would add this in and have it printed off.
Do you go with that or not necessarily?
I'm not sure I understand what they're asking for. I mean, when he started out, their commitment was that county would be committed to $4.2 million, their quarter of. And he said if we don't do that, and how do we commit to that 4 years down the road is my question.
Well, when the matching funds come due, after they've done all their engineering and they've gone through the process, the grant process, they've worked with Senator or Representative Houchin on that, when those grant funds come due, then that's when representatives from the county, representatives from the LCD sit down and say, okay, what number are we putting in the interlocal agreement, knowing that the resolution was an up to 4.2 million number. Not to exceed 4.2 is how it's written.
But if we don't think we can come up with our 25%, aren't we wasting everybody's time?
It's a good question.
I mean,
Well, the only other.
The mayor of Greendale's here. I know he wants this and needs it, but I mean, if we're sitting here saying we don't think we can come up with a $4.2 million, why go through a process here that we're gonna commit a bunch of people to a bunch of time and everybody's gonna pull the plug? I mean, I'm not sure that this is making sense to me.
Councilman Dole, could I answer that real quick for you?
Sure.
Because it's important, right?
Oh, I
I know.
I agree it's important, but if we feel, and I mean, Dan's made a commitment that and Dan's the councilman from that area, and I totally understand that. But if the board what I'm hearing here is they're uncomfortable going forward with that number. I mean, are we just gonna keep beating this and hoping that everybody at some point says, okay, we're gonna rob Peter to pay Paul here, or take money here, or we're gonna raise taxes somewhere to do this, or the Conservancy, I don't know where this Conservancy district gets its revenue stream. And I talked to Mike McLaughlin at length about this, and he explained to me that at one point there was a revenue stream there, and when the boat came, they quit the levy tax or whatever, and which probably should have kept going, it sounds like. But I don't know, is there any plans for future revenue stream for the Conservancy district?
Well, before you get going here, Jim, I mean, like I said, I hope you heard me before. One of the main points of this is that this doesn't happen again, right? So me and Jim have talked at lengths how to create a reserve fund, right? Because I'm not just worried about repairing the levee. What happens if there's a disaster? How do we respond to that? What's our emergency? So one thing we've done is come up with a hazard. For some reason, we weren't including the hazard mitigation plan, even though we would be the first to know that we're going to flood, right? But in any event, to that, we have talked at length right now. How do we keep a reserve large enough? Because like I said, it's not just, doing this little job. We could face millions and millions of dollars of liability trying to fix some stuff to keep the county rolling and keep Lawrenceburg and Greendale going. So that is one of the issues. And like I said, I think I started talking about, I don't know, the sins of the father or whatever, that there was some short-sightedness, I believe, in the early part when these levies were done. We got the Corvette of facilities. The issue is, I don't think we were completely prepared to keep the upkeep when it first came back in 41. We got a board right now that's serious. They're looking at this as one of these boards that's saying, hey, not only do we have to protect these people, we got to figure a way to protect these people ad infinitum moving forward. And so that's the goal moving forward here. This is kind of our first step.
The board has a good reserve fund, $36 million.
Yeah.
They're using it for the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, you absolutely. And so that reserve fund, what we're living on is.
We don't have that luxury here.
Oh, I know, but listen to this. We're living on a fixed income on that too. We can blow through that 35 million.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What's the plan going forward for a revenue?
So I don't want to commit the LCD. My opinion on what we need to do is get the special benefits tax going back again, right? So I'm not committing. The board hasn't decided to do that yet. We've worked with the county auditor. I've already asked questions on how we could keep that jurisdiction again, how we could start, basically doing our special benefits that, hey, you're a resident of Lawrenceburg, Greendale, you're protected by this, you will pay towards it. I don't know. I think the casino came and everybody jumped for joy that everybody's going to be rich. And we took away the levy tax. We should never have done that. I don't disagree. But right now we're looking at the current problem. How do we solve the levy infrastructure now? how do we do this that when I'm long dead and buried, that there's still going to be levees protecting this city in Greendale? And Mr. Kittle, of course, is on board with it as well. So I'll let Mr. Kittle continue here.
I just wanted to say, Mark, our revenues, we get $1.7 million from the city of Lawrenceburg on the lease. The riverboat's sitting on our property, so we get $1.7 million. And in our interest income, we have $37 million invested, laddered out 5 years. And we get about $1.5 million in revenue and interest. That's it. That's our revenue streams. And again, interest rates go down. Of course, our revenue stream
But I
go
mean, going
down.
forward, you're gonna have to come up with some kind of better revenue stream, right? In order to
Well-
maintain this thing like Jared's talking about.
The only way would be tax.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know, and I don't really understand what the prior revenue stream was. It was some kind of levy tax or something, and I don't
Some
know
years
who all
ago.
paid that or how it exactly worked, but. I mean, that's kind of why we're at the point we're at now, right?
Hmm.
Is you guys don't have any revenue stream to build up your rent. You're actually working off of your
Interest
excess.
in the lease on the boat.
Yeah.
Who pays the lease? The Hollywood or the city?
Runs through the city of Lawrenceburg. They have a lease with, I'm assuming, with the boat. And
At one point, I think you guys were getting more money from that lease, right?
less. Actually, we were getting $500,000 and then we got it up to 1.5 and we get a 1% increase every year. So it's up to 1.7.
That's not even the cost of living.
So we have been around the barn a number of times. I'd like for us to come to some kind of final resolution of this agenda item. If you're willing to do the amendment, with the language that Mr. Bondenissel is prepared to add to it, if you have any comfort level with doing that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to have him read what the amendment is so we understand. And it's also under the understanding that we're supporting this up to whatever it could be $100 million, but we know we don't have that much. So I guess my point is.
Well, I just a quick clarification on my end. That's what I was talking with Greg about, and Jared did send me. I had Word copies of these resolutions that I worked off of on my resolution. So apologies for not sharing those. I don't have a PDF of the signed Greendale resolution. I do have one from Lawrenceburg, but Councilman Little, I don't see the language in the Lawrenceburg one about it being contingent upon the other entities approving 4.2 million. The signed version I have. Now, the Word version I had that language in there, but that, and then I don't know, Mayor Carstetter, if your guys is included at the contingency. I haven't seen the signed version. So I just wanted to bring that up real quick. But what Jared had drafted was any commitment, obligation, or appropriation by Dearborn County to provide funding in amount not to exceed $4,200,000 for the project contemplated herein is expressly contingent upon the satisfaction of each of the following conditions. 1, the parties shall negotiate, execute, and deliver a written interlocal cooperation agreement in form and substance acceptable to both Dearborn County and the Lawrenceburg Conservancy District, setting forth the terms, conditions, responsibilities, and obligations of each party with respect to the project. And 2, the project shall receive a formal grant award from the Federal Emergency Management Agency or through a FEMA administered program providing funding for the project.
And that, I heard you say any amount. Did I hear that?
Up to.
Wouldn't they rather have the amount that we're willing to put in there rather than the up to, when I think it's the consensus? I mean, I'm kind of asking Mr. Kittle, I guess.
Yeah, I
because
think. Again, though,
It-
I'm almost positive in those resolutions, it says that each of the 4 entities would give $4.2 million. If you decide to give less, yes, you decide to give less. I mean, I'm not sure if that
I mean, if we're gonna pass a resolution based on the words up to and consensus of the board is, we're not anywhere, we're not there.
Right.
I mean, wouldn't you guys, as the controlling entity or the people requesting a grant, wouldn't it be more beneficial to you to have a number?
I would think so.
Or would you rather have the up to, knowing that we're not there? Doesn't make sense to me, I guess.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't want, again, this is me talking, I wouldn't want you to say you're gonna get 4.2 and you have no intentions of doing that or can do that. I would think you wouldn't want to do that.
That's my point.
You know, I mean,
And I feel like we should support this project. And both on paper and monetarily.
But what we're hearing in conversation and not in writing is that they have to be 4 equal partners.
well, that's what they say, but I guess if you give
Who's
less,
they?
what the resolutions say, 4.2, the city of.
Who determined that all four partners need to give the same amount? I just find that very strange. And I totally agree. I mean, there's no question the levy is important.
Right,
There's no question that the county would like to give some level of support,
right.
but Dearborn County government is not in the position of doing 4.2. And I would like for us to resolve this. And I hope the Conservancy District understands that we're supportive of
Right.
your efforts.
We appreciate
But
it.
I think that it's also important for you to understand that we're the fiscal body for the county, and as such, we've been elected by the people. We have a sacred trust to do what we feel is appropriate for Dearborn County government, recognizing all the benefits of the levy system, how dependent everyone is on it, but we also have to live within whatever we're able to afford. And for me, 4.2 is not a number that is realistic. So I think that we would like to give you a document that says that a document that says that we are supportive of your grant request. And I'm certainly willing to vote in favor of a dollar amount, but we cannot come anywhere near approaching the $4.2 million. And I don't know where anyone got the idea that every entity has to give equal percentage. That would be different for me.
I think I can help a little bit. The grants are all done on a scoring system. And the more community cooperation you have, and when they were talking to us, and I sit in on all the phone calls. I've heard everything. And our goal was.
You didn't identify yourself, but you are.
Paul Seymour, I'm superintendent of the Conservancy District. So what happens in these grant situations is you get grades, they judge you and they give you scores on different things. We've done cost benefit analysis. Part of our grade is going to be, can we get Greendale to commit? Can we get Lawrenceburg to commit? Can the Conservancy commit in the county? It's about elected officials in our area. So that's going to give us a more competitive score. If you guys participate, and that's how this grant is being approached. We're not going to have a chance at all if we don't get your support. You're right. It's going to cause me problems if I don't get the whole amount. Now, I don't know whether I can work through these problems or if I can work through them. So, we need a yes or no vote or a commitment of some type, and then we'll have to have conversations and talks to see how if we're gonna be able to work through this. But the whole reasoning behind this is to score the grant, to get these people to recognize us. And if they see that, man, look at this, they're wanting $70 million, they're protecting this, they've got all their county officials on board. And now we're noticeable. It just gives us a better chance, and it puts us in the game instead of not being in the game. And that's one thing I wanted to say to clear that up. And I also wanted to say, you guys have been great. You gave us time. You was good in the presentation. Whatever you decide, I'm personally good with. I've lived here my whole life. I understand everybody's got commitments and things they got to think about. It's just that I'm pretty passionate about this. I know how important it is. And I know the other thing, it just happened this morning. Me and Jimmy got a call from Washington DC. It's Aaron Housen's office. We got people interested in us, and they are interested in seeing how we do and what they can do for this area. So before this morning, I was one of them that thought, I don't think we're gonna get a grant. But after we had that phone call, I'm all excited about it because this is the first time, and we've been working on this a long time. And that's the most encouraged I've been about this grant chasing for quite a while. But that call this morning got me excited.
After all the work you put in, it had to be a big discouragement when they did away with the brick grants, because
It
that carrot was
big,
dangling in
but-
front of you quite a while.
But here's the other part of it, to the timing of it. When these people called this morning, they're asking us things, you know, are you ready? Are you ready? We're not ready, and we're waiting on one thing, and guess what it is? Cooperation from the county. That's what we're waiting on. We're either gonna get it or we aren't. And when you make your decision, we'll figure it out. You know, that's all I can say is you guys are sitting at this table. I've said it, this kind of decision-making thing again. I understand it totally, but we really need a decision because we got thinking to do. And if they call us and they say, hey, Paul, Miss Housen says if we got to have something turned in by May 15th, and that's the way they operate. If we don't have it, we don't have it. And I don't want to not have it for the community. We've been working on this, Jimmy, for how long? Been quite a while, but I just wanted to say that. I want to say thanks, you know, for all your cooperation, because you have cooperated. Very, very good.
Mr. Seymour, I think you and your entire board should be commended. You've done a great job of running this, doing the studies, circling it from every single direction like you should. You've been responsible. You've been watching it for years. You've been setting aside money for years. And I agree that every single one of us, every one of those 4 stakeholders should have some skin in this game. I personally believe that. I don't believe that it's an equal share. We can wait for somebody to share that, but I just want to start the conversation and say, personally, I'm not comfortable with putting that number out there if it's not a real number, even though you told us it has to be equal. I'm at the 10% of that number. I'm at $420,000 is what I think we can bring to the table in a responsible manner for the citizens of Dearborn County, recognizing, so you have all 4 players in the game. That's a level that I personally think that we can fund. And I don't want to commit beyond that because I don't know what the future council is going to be for next year, the year after that. And when the Piper comes calling, I don't want to have somebody pointing out a number that we can't stand to and say that it's going to appear like we negotiated in bad faith. I don't believe 4.2 is a good faith number from us.
We came in here asking and we expected, you know, to have this conversation, and you guys got a decision to make, and I'm not one that's gonna make the decision for you. You guys know everything.
Tim made a very excellent point. I think that Dearborn County government is trying to show that we understand the need. We want to be supportive, but we need to be supportive in a fiscally sound way. And I totally agree with the number he's talking about. I know it's only 10% of what you're asking, but it's a big number for Dearborn County government. But I would be in favor of supporting a contribution of that level toward that grant. And whatever document you need that supports in language, if you need to have that as part of your grant materials, and a commitment from an actual commitment from the county of the dollar amount that we can actually honor.
Hey, I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, so with what Tim said, if we sign that resolution that says we're committing up to 4.2, but you all right here know that we're not gonna give you 4.2. You want that resolution to show FEMA that we're all together, but yet you know that if you get that grant, you're gonna have to find the other money.
I get what you're saying, and no, I don't want to do it like that, because here's probably what would happen, and I've been through it once when I was on council over at Lawrenceburg. When it came down to it, if because FEMA's going to come up to us and say, hey, you know, we're putting our $55 million into this. You guys have committed this. And now all of a sudden I gotta say, well, we don't have it. We're gonna have to turn the grant down. We're just gonna have to turn it down. I would rather honestly go into it up front knowing what we gotta do, and that's what I mean about, you know, whatever your decisions is, these guys now have, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got to talk to our grant people, we got to figure out the money, and we got to make a decision which way to go next. And deal with whatever happens. What happens if you commit the 400,000 and Lawrenceburg calls us or Greendale calls us, and I don't want to make it sound like you guys would do this, but the truth is somebody just might say, well, if they ain't gonna pitch in that, I'm not pitching in what I got. So those are the things that none of us in this room know that's gonna happen. But we need to sit back and talk and figure out, all right, here's what we got out of the meeting. They committed, we got a good letter. But now how do we make it to our 25%? Maybe maybe none of us can. Maybe it's not feasible. You know, maybe this just isn't feasible. For me to get that in my head with all the money that's came through this area, and I'm not picking on the county or Greendale or Lawrenceburg or the Conservancy, but I find it a shame for the citizens that after 20 years of seeing all this boat money come in here, that we can't figure out a way to make this happen. If we can bring $50 billion of federal money in here, I hope we can figure out a way to keep this grant chasing alive. I mean, I hope that my board can get together and figure that part of it out, because it would be a shame if we can't make this pursuit. So, you know, that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I have another one. Greg mentioned accreditation, and, how often do you go through that, and when is that up?
That's supposed to happen every 10 years. And I don't know where I mentioned it the last time, but if we were to do this relief well project and the pump station in Greendale, you're not going to have a project of this magnitude 10 years from now. You're just not going to have it. Our relief wells right now are 85 years old, so you're probably, none of us are going to be alive when this big of a project comes back again. But this would put us in place in Lawrenceburg and Greendale if we can make this happen. 30, 40, 50 years or more. It really would. You're talking about maintenance, upkeep of the pumps. It's just, it's not, you're not going to come up with another 70, $80 million project until you've used the life out of what you had again. And hopefully, and you know, hell, I'll take blame for part of it, but we've been trying to educate people for a long time. And it just seems like, you know, I've had meetings at the adult center. I've really worked hard on getting the importance of all of our infrastructure and everything. It's really the most important infrastructure we have. But I would be willing to bet you that when we get this project done, whoever's in charge and got my job is going to have the same struggles I had. When they come up and got to do this again, nobody knows what this levee does. Nobody knows how much we protect. They all think we just cut grass. Far from the truth. We got 5 pump stations, 8 floodgates. We 170 relief wells. There's a whole lot to this system, and it takes money to do it. And the sad part is 50, 80 years from now, there's not going to be the money that we've had the pleasure of having the last 20 years here. So whatever we pass on to the future here, they ain't got a prayer of doing what we've got a chance to do right now to put this city in a spot where it can be taken care of for 50 years or longer. depending on how well you do the maintenance. So it's a lot to think about.
So one last thing, if awarded the grant as a guesstimate, when would the money be due?
After that phone call today, I mean, she's wanting to put something in front of some important people. I mean, I think realistically, in my eyes, what I'd like to see happen is a project starting in 3 or 4 years. I would like to see us apply and them call us and say, hey, we got something for you. Let's get the stuff turned in. And in that year and a half, because grants aren't fast. I don't want to make it sound like I think it'll happen fast, but I would be hoping that in a 2-year period to 3-year period, we after that phone call today, I got that hope. I really do. I was very encouraged, and some of my guys don't even know that we got that phone call. I was going to update them with tomorrow night's meeting, but it's pretty encouraging. And but I don't know whether it'll happen or not. But I do know that all the talking I've done and all the listening I've done, it's all about a score. It's all about how well you grade out on the application you turn in, and they really look at community partnership and things. So that's why.
How much more work do you have to do before you present the grant? I mean, like, do you have all the numbers, like how many businesses you got, how much revenues generated and all that kind of stuff? Is that something you guys can share with us?
We got cost benefit analysis. I've knocked on every door.
Is that something that you could share with the council?
Absolutely.
I mean, that would have been beneficial to me to have to weigh out the county's revenue, what's coming from where and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I got letters of support from businesses and freeholders and we really, the only thing left we got to do is what we're doing here tonight. That's where we're at, guys. That's the bottom line.
Mark, we'll get you that cost benefit analysis. It's very interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
The benefits.
I mean, that might kind of answer some of Glenn's questions as well, as he's talking about, other people in the county and like Aurora and West Harrison,
Right.
Yeah, I know I ask questions. I get asked that a lot, Glenn. Hey, Paul, what's it gonna cost if our levy gets decertified?
And the thing there, we're not doing anything to help them with flood mitigation, other than maybe go help them clean up after they get flooded again.
Yeah, I've actually went to the insurance company. I built a new house over on the corner of Canal and Euphemia. It would cost me right now $2,800 a year to buy flood insurance. Doesn't sound too far out of line. Guess what it costs if the levy gets decertified? They won't give me a quote, but he gives me examples. I'm probably looking at having to pay $10,000–$15,000 a year if the levy gets decertified. That's just on a home. No, those are things we can't have happen.
Well, saying that's part of my question.
Okay.
Because basically, as long as that levy is certified, your flood insurance is costing you $0 versus $2,800.
Yeah.
Here. Am I correct?
Now, do you guys pay flood insurance on anything, or do you pay insurance on things?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean the county. Do you pay insurance on the jail, the courthouse, the things?
We've got all kinds of insurance.
We understand that flood insurance would be an impact to the county.
Yeah.
But
school systems.
My question is, like you're saying, $2,800 on your new home. On down there. But you're saving $2,800 a year. And my question would be, well, instead of paying $2,800, what if you had to pay $1,000 a year? Put some skin in the game, to get this done. And how many?
He's saying taxes.
I'm in full agreement with you. Look, the first thing I'll tell you is we can't tax people enough to do this project. We can't. However, if we are able to do this project and we get these relief wells, along with these relief wells comes maintenance. So I fully agree with you. There's gonna have to be a tax, and Jared said it, and I agree with him now. And he also said, it's up to the directors. It's not up to me and Jared, but I, living down here, am in full agreement with you that that tax would need to be put back in place, because we don't want to get in this situation again. We want to be the smart people that set up the next 6 generations to know how to do this and do it right, because we obviously haven't done it right up to now.
That was my point going forward. You guys, just based on the numbers Mr. Kittle said, you need a better revenue stream going forward somehow or another, whether it's, you know.
We all need to think better looking forward. I mean, I know that, I agree with that, but look, I don't like looking backwards. I got a problem right here in front of my eyes. These guys gave me a job. I'm trying to solve it. And this is the way I know how to solve it. And I think that the 4 groups of people, our government, coming together to do this the same way they came together to build these 2 levees. By the way, I mean, everybody came together to build them. So we need everybody to be together to take care of them. That's just my train of thought. Any more questions? Thank you.
All right. That's the end of the conversation. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution that was presented earlier with Mr. Eubanks, and I'm gonna have you read it before we move forward, but with Mr. Eubanks' adjustments. However, I think the number that I feel comfortable in my motion putting in there is 420,000, up to 420,000, not 4.2 million. Would you like to read the version that you have?
Yeah, so
Make sure we're
it
square.
was the resolution that you had before you at the end of paragraph 4. So paragraph 4 would be changed to that Dearborn County, Indiana fully supports the Lawrenceburg Conservancy District's efforts to pursue grant funding for the LFPP and the GFPP through the donation of an amount not to exceed $420,000. And then it would be new paragraph 5. Any commitment, obligation, or appropriation by Dearborn County, Indiana to provide funding in an amount not to exceed $420,000 for the project contemplated herein is expressly contingent upon the satisfaction of each of the following conditions. A, the parties shall negotiate, execute, and deliver a written interlocal cooperation agreement in form and substance acceptable to both Dearborn County, Indiana, and the Lawrenceburg Conservancy District, setting forth the terms, conditions, responsibilities, and obligations of each party with respect to the project. And B, the project contemplated herein the project contemplated herein receiving a formal grant award from the Federal Emergency Management Agency or through a FEMA administered program providing funding for the project.
Mr. Eubank, that meets your criteria that's needed?
Absolutely.
So are you able to redo this paperwork so we can act on it and?
Yeah, so it's I've got it all ready to go here, is if that's what you guys.
Make a motion to approve the amendment as read by Mr. Bonadistel.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Yeah, so I'll email it to Leah, and then so don't run off because she'll have to print it off before you guys head out of here. Thank you.
And then secondarily, we have on our agenda, and it's been advertised, to actually make the appropriation tonight of an amount that Mr. Dahl mentioned. Is there a motion to approve $420,000 out of county general that will be held by the county, but with Leah, held by the county, the 420 held by the county, but earmarked for that specific purpose?
We have to redo that every year.
Guys approve any conferences that come through, so you can see it.
Okay.
So do we have a motion for the 420?
Yes.
Is that yours? Is that your motion, Tim?
Yes.
Is there a second for the $420,000? This is out of county general. Thank you, Dennis. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. And we need to all stay here until Leah gets that printed off, because it needs to be signed.
We still have another one.
Got other business still.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you to everyone who came tonight. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next on our agenda is the interlocal between Ohio and Dearborn counties.
The resolution.
That's not the way it sounded.
Yeah, for them to sign, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Tim, your motion, just to clarify, was to approve the resolution as.
Read by you.
As I read it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what Andy was just asking for clarification.
That's why I want to make sure
Yeah.
Mr. Eubank was comfortable with what you read.
Okay, so we need to all stay until we have that for us to sign tonight.
Correct, please.
Next on our agenda is an interlocal between Ohio and Dearborn counties.
So this is something we did a few years ago. All of the circuit court employees are Dearborn County employees, and Ohio County sends us money to help offset the cost of their salaries and the benefits and whatnot. So our circuit court's the last of actual circuits, and so we have a little bit of a unique situation here. So we have a interlocal cooperation agreement to authorize that relationship to continue. The amount sent, and actually we've already received these funds, $200,000 for the circuit court employees' salaries and benefits. And then also an additional $21,718 for the part-time drug testers that are used by community corrections and probation. So the first step would be to motion to approve the resolution to enter into the interlocal agreement.
We have a motion to enter into the interlocal.
So move.
Second. Doug, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Wait, let's do the vote again. Let's do a roll call. Aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. I couldn't hear if there was enough. Thank you.
And then the next would be a motion to actually approve the interlocal cooperation agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the
So move.
Second.
right, pretty much, or brain dead at this point? Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, so next on the agenda, and remember, we need to stay. Do we already have it?
He just said.
Oh, this is the one we
That's the
just did.
interlocal.
Okay.
Yeah, can have it. And now pass down, this is the resolution as amended. Kim printed off for me.
And it's got the 420.
Yes. And we'll need to have it on your agenda next meeting.
Do we need to date this or just leave that blank?
What's that? I'm sorry.
There's a date on here for county council.
On the
18th of March, 2022.
Is
is that the interlocal?
That's hopefully the levy thing.
No, this is the interlocal with Ohio County, Bay State, so
Do we have the one for,
yeah, it's coming right there.
for LCD?
Yes.
We're gonna take a minute to sign everything and get it returned before we go on. But I would like to say, I appreciate everyone's willingness to make a commitment to the Conservancy District on their grant request. I think we need to do something that is appropriate for Dearborn County and as the fiscal body for the citizens. I think we had to do what was right for the county. I understand it's a major project and there are a lot of benefits to it. But I think that the motion we made tonight and the action we took was appropriate for us at this time. So I thank everyone for listening to the arguments pro and con and coming to a consensus on what is appropriate to do today. It was a lot.
Well, it's good for them that we had no dissenting, that way it was all full support to the whole board.
Good point. Did you get all these signed agreements?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I think we're good.
Let's get them to just. Do
You
have
gotta
all
present
three
to the
of them?
auditor?
Let's get these to that table before we go to the next thing. I don't want to walk out of here and. Yeah. Proxy for Mrs. Fromhold.
I have the meeting minutes that need approval from the January 21st meeting.
Those were emailed to everyone. I don't think there were any corrections. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes for the minutes.
And then the only other thing I have is an updated salary ordinance with just some normal housekeeping.
And everyone has to sign that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the new salary ordinance?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Doug.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is that all you have? Any late arrival information? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Yes.
You want to second the adjournment? Dennis seconds the adjournment. Dennis, did you second the adjournment? Okay. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Hopefully not.
Yes or no?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation.
Need some water, Dennis?
It's still up.